unforgettable experience, visit Yarrawonga Mulwala, an inland aquatic paradise unrivaled in Australia, attracting water skiers, fishermen and yachtsmen. The famous Farm Gate Trail will tempt your taste buds. We're here in Lake Mulwala. It's been a cold morning, but the weather conditions looks fine for today's criterium, which is the final stage of the women's tour. Today it's a 30 laps of a 1.2k circuit, 36 k's in total. There are 2 intermediate sprints, but it'll have no bearing on the GC. Kendall Hodges leads the tour, and she leads that by 7 seconds of Alan Skerritt. She's only got to stay on her bike today to take out the tour.
It's a fairly straightforward circuit. There's a few corners. We're looking forward to riding in front again like yesterday and hopefully covering the moves, and hopefully it'll be a bunch sprint again and we'll win GC.
We're definitely going to go for the extra time with the sprints and the finish. So just trying to make up a bit of time on Kendall if we can. I'm not much of a sprinter, so it is a big ask, but I'm going to give it my all.
And everything went to plan early for Kendall Hodges and her teammates. But then there was a nasty crash in the back straight with 2 of the arbitrage girls, in the riders of Rebecca Mackey and Jessica Huston, being taken to hospital by ambulance.
Yeah, girls in the centre, a few touch of wheels, and then they all decided to turn right. And I got left with nowhere to go but over the gutter or into a girl, so I sort of hit the girl and then landed on my head, so I've got a bit of a headache.
I think a few of the other teams wanted to take a bit of an opportunity to get away, get a bit of a gap, so it didn't come down to a sprint, maybe take the stage and a bit of time on GC, but yeah, either the girls or myself were on most of the moves, so there was nothing that got away, nothing that threatened us throughout the race.
As the big bunch come around the corner for the final sprint of the line, it was the rider of Ashley Akunov from Specialised that took it out from Georgie Baker, the Tasmanian, and riding for Bicycle Superstore, Christy Glover finished 3rd.
It's a really good way to finish off a great tour. I mean, it was always going to be tough, aggressive this Tour of Murray since there's no hills to really break it up. But yeah, the wind certainly made it tough in the first few days, and yeah, I mean, it's beautiful to finish on a win.
And the 22-year-old Kendall Hodges was very excited, crossing the line, taking out her first ever National Road Series tour.
Oh, I'm really delighted. We had to work hard for it. Tessa and Georgia worked hard all day. Tessa was on the front, Georgia was looking after me. So yeah, I was really glad when we crossed that line for the finishing lap.
So the final standings in the sprint classification, Rebecca Wysack, riding for Suzuki Brumby, took out the sprint jersey. The young rider classification was taken out by Alan Skerritt, riding for Holden Cycling Team. The National Road Series jersey is retained by Ruth Corset on 39 points, so she'll take that lead into the next women's tour. Now to the men's criterium, same distance as the women. For the young Queenslander Jesse Kerrison, he must win this final stage, and Brenton Jones, the tour leader, must not finish in the top 4.
3, 2, 1, go!
It's going to be pretty intense actually. There's a number of guys and teams who are close to getting the win, but I think we can defend quite well and get the job done.
There's only a few seconds in it, so for the spectators it's awesome. For everyone else in the bunch it's nerve-wracking.
The men's criterium started at a frantic pace, many riders being shelved very early in the 30-lap event. Coming up to the first intermediate sprint, and it was the rider from Charter Mason, Raphael Freemstein, that drew level with Brenton Jones. But then the second sprint, it was Freemstein that won that sprint to put in 3 points clear and for him to take out the sprint jersey. Avanti was doing a magnificent job countering all the budget forklift attacks because they were trying to get Kerrison up into yellow. Everything went well for Brenton Jones in the first 29 laps, but in that final lap, the 30th, he dropped the chain and unfortunately there went the tour.
Yeah, just came off change came off actually. I got knocked on my hip, someone came up beside me and they knocked me a little bit and the chain came off, and I drifted off into the gutter after that to try and put it back on, and nearly avoided a crash there, and yeah, just tried to get to the finish line. Unfortunately for me, Jesse got the stage, which was enough to win the tour, so yeah, been lucky.
And then coming into the final sprint, we made the call with 5 laps to go. It's going to be a kick. We'll get you to the front. It's up to you from there.
So Jesse Kerrison won the sprint to the line from Raphael Freemson and James Mowat, and one of his teammates in Alex Waller punched the air in celebrations and took a nasty spill just after the line.
I'm ecstatic. It sucks what happened to BJ, but as we've seen throughout this tour, it's racing, it happens. And he's a great rider, great guy, and he'll be strong enough that he'll pick it back up and he'll come back again for South Coast next week.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. I've had the yellow jersey all week, and yeah, to lose it on the final sprint when, if the chain didn't come off, I potentially could have done quite well in the sprint finish there. I was feeling good during the race today, so it's disappointing. But to be a champion, it's not all about winning. So that's why I'm going away from this.
So summing up the general classifications and all the other jerseys, Raphael Freemstein from Charter Mason took out the sprint jersey on 25 points from Brenton Jones. The young rider classification was taken out by Jesse Kerrison. The most aggressive on stage 7, Tyler Farrell, yesterday's winner, once again very aggressive. In the GC classification, Brenton Jones finished 3rd. 2nd was Raphael Freemstein, and Jesse Kerrison was the tour winner. Budget Forklift took out the team classification by only 2 seconds from Warmall Civil, the West Australian team. So at conclusion of the Tour of the Murray, it's still Joseph Cooper of Avanti that leads the National Road Series overall from his teammate Jack Haig.